Hey guys, two old guys here. We are doing something special. We're going to react to a philosophical question.
Awesome.
We just Googled philosophical questions.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
That's right. Here we got one.
Yeah.
Ready? Can a human without hope live a full and happy life? Let's read that again. Can a human without hope live a full and happy life?
Boy. That's a big one.
I think what we have to do is define what a full and happy life is.
Good point.
It is completely different for every single person on the planet.
True.
Right? A full and happy life when I was 20 is even different from when I was 30 or 40, right?
Okay.
I mean, everybody has their goals. What do I need to do to be happy? Is it my career? Is it having a kid? Is it being married? Is it, buying my first house? Is it I want a Mercedes instead of a Toyota, right? Everybody defines their life differently. So how can it be full and how can it be happy? What are your thoughts?
Well, there's also another qualifier that I see in this question, because as I've gotten older and I've lived 5 decades, a little bit over 5 decades, yes, we can pursue happiness because it seems like our cultures always encourages us to be happy. Mm-hmm. We want to be happy, mm-hmm. but we're picking up the language of our society, of our particular culture. But I also have included the word joy, which mm-hmm. I find to be deeper. Mm-hmm. And I distinguish the two because I think that joy is this foundational existence where you reach a certain realization and you reach a certain attitude, and it doesn't mean that you're there permanently, but you find something far more stable than happiness, which I kind of see more based on circumstances. Mm-hmm. So I think that you can have a happy day, and then you can have a day where you're in the doldrums and you're depressed mm-hmm. and have a bad mood, and then you can be happy the next day, or you can be happy at intermittent times throughout a day, right? But you may be struggling, going through a roller coaster. So I see happiness is more unstable. So just by the sheer linguistics of the particular question.
So I did a reaction.
Yep.
On can you experience happiness if you have not felt sadness? And during that reaction, I realized when I'm sitting here right now, I don't feel happy.
What?
Right? Like I'm not going, I'm happy.
But you're with me.
But if you were sad, you would know you were sad.
Oh, okay.
So ultimately, in my mind, philosophically, if you're not sad, you have to be happy. Like, you're not sad.
Well, you're saying it's the absence of something.
Of sadness, right.
But don't you think there's a neutral ground where you're not necessarily happy? You're not necessarily in fifth gear, but you're not in...
Contentness.
You're not in reverse.
Contentness, I guess, right?
Contentment.
Yep, that's right. That's between sadness and happiness,
and so is contentment happiness?
Right. This is a full and happy life. I would imagine that being content is being a happy life.
Again, it's relative to your situation, because if hypothetically somebody came in here and dragged me out of this room mm-hmm. and flew me into a developing country and dropped me off into the jungle or the desert of that country, mm-hmm. and I had to survive, and I met some people, but it was still a bare, subsistence. and I was lonely, and it was a struggle, and I was, destitute. I had no connections. I, survived. And then all of a sudden they brought me back 3 months later. I'd be kissing the ground, and all of a sudden I would feel immense happiness. Nothing would have changed.
Yes,
here.
absolutely.
Yeah, they drop you off in the same room, the same home
Yes.
you knew, the same people. So it's all very relative to our experience, because
Well, let me ask you a question. If we're looking at full and happy life, if you live your entire life, all your life, content,
would you be?
would you say that was a full and happy life? You were content. You did not regret a single thing. That is a full and happy life.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're saying objectively.
Yes.
Objectively, you have lived a full
and happy life.
regardless of how you would define it as the person.
Right.
You may not, at times, you may not have felt that you had that life, but
Right. Because
but-
you got to take happy as not being, I'm having a great life. Right? I mean, you can't laugh all the time and be happy. Right? Okay.
that is somebody on some chemical substance.
Being content, I think, is a full and happy life all the way through.
So we've talked about full and happy life.
Mm-hmm.
The main part of the question: can a human without hope
That's right.
live a full and happy life?
That's right.
So whether it is a life that is merely contentment, or it is one that we all imagine that we're reaching these mountaintop peaks of success and achievement, and having a full life of relationships, and just different things, how the world defines a full and happy life. Going back to the question, can a human do that without hope?
Right.
What do you think?
Hope
Hope in
is hope is a belief
what? Okay.
in something good.
That's going to happen.
That's
because it
going to
hasn't-
happen.
It hasn't
That's
happened
right.
yet.
Something good that's going to happen.
It's anticipation.
That's right.
In fact, let me just interject this because I'm going to forget it.
Yes.
I've always thought that the happiest times of the Christmas season, and Christmas is almost a universal experience and holiday throughout the world. So much of the Western world has enveloped the globe. So most people will probably understand this. In some parts of the world, they don't celebrate Christmas, but Christmas is one of the biggest holidays, probably on the annual calendar around the globe. I've always kind of said that the happiest moments of Christmas for me is in the anticipation. I think about Christmas, and for me, it's rarely the day of. It's rarely those moments we open the presents.
Yep.
It's rarely the moments when we're surrounded by trash, because of all the opened paper.
It's a
and
30-day
boxes.
process.
It's the whole anticipation. It's the buildup of what is to come. It's like a miniature, I don't know, I guess, ecosystem of hope.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I love those moments. It's those moments of looking forward to something great.
Yep.
The advent or the coming of something beautiful.
Yep.
And here in our human existence, we've done Christmases before, so we know it's coming. But it's still this joyous, like, communal coming together, and everyone being in this great mood.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know what this is, because I'm not even sure if you buy into the deeper meaning of Christmas, and I know that you're struggling to actually pay for presents, and
Yeah, right.
but still, people seem to be happier,
Yep.
and it's a reflection, obviously, off of each other. But there's also this expectation, and that speaks. I was thinking a lot about this last season. It speaks so much about how we need hope.
So, but back to the question: can a human live without hope and live a full, happy life? And let me give you an example. I'm driving on a tour bus towards Chichen Itza, Mexico, where all the Mayan ruins are, all the pyramids and stuff. And we got this tour guide. And we're driving by all these people that live in like rocks that they've taken from the pyramids in the city, the great city. They literally like collected rocks and built like these little huts. They're almost like caves.
Right.
And I'm looking out the bus window, and there's kids running around half naked. They look poor. And I'm just going, oh my goodness, this is like third world stuff, man. And it's Mexico. And the tour guide said, don't be fooled. Don't look up there and feel sorry for those people. Those people are perfectly happy. They are happy with their life. They don't know what's going on in your life. You do. And you feel sorry for them because they don't have your life. But their life is full and happy. Okay? Now, what is their hope? Like my hope is attached to, I gotta have a career, I gotta have a nice car, I gotta have a nice house, I gotta keep up with the Joneses. What is their hope? That I'm going to eat the next day?
But is your hope really in having a nice car? I mean, I know you have a nice car.
I'm saying,
and we haven't ridden in it yet.
In general, right?
It's in the garage. Looks beautiful.
In general, I feel like that is our hope of our society.
Do you believe you bought into some of that?
I believe I've been raised in it. Like I didn't know anything else.
Yeah, but I mean, you know now. You're talking about it. You're aware of it. Do you believe that you personally, that is part of your hope?
No.
It's a hard question.
I think after I came back from that trip,
Mexico,
I was a changed person. When it came to thinking of the other parts of the world. Yes, are there people starving, dying, and stuff? Yes, there are people. But there are a lot of places where people are living full and happy lives, and they don't have 70-inch TVs.
Right.
And I think that their hope, that's the question, is what is your hope? What is your hope attached to? Is it religious hope? Is it a material things hope? Mm-hmm. Right? What is that attached to? And I would say if it's a hope attached to material things, you might not have a full and happy life if you don't make it there.
Yeah.
If you want to if your hope is in, I have to have a yacht or I don't live a full and happy life, you may be in for a big surprise.
Yeah, and I think to bring it down to the average person, most people probably don't daydream of having and owning a yacht. Probably most people, talk about having a huge house or a mansion, but some people will simply say, if I can get that 4-room house down the street or in X neighborhood, I'd be happy. If I could just bump up my salary within, this society where I am now to 6 figures, I would be so happy. I've also lived long enough to know that isn't necessarily true. And still, at a deeper level, that's even if your dreams and your visions are more modest, they're not. We're all like, I'm not guilty of being so greedy. I'm just an average guy, and I want this middle road.
Yeah.
And it sounds good. But even there, at a deeper level, you're still putting your hope in what we can touch, and subsistence and shelter and just enough to go beyond just food and water and clothing, but also to have a little fun and a little entertainment. And it's kind of called the middle class. But at the end of the day, is that a full and happy life? And is that our hope? Is that so yes, for one society, they're almost literally scratching a life out of dirt. In another society, it's much more sophisticated, but it's still the same thing. It's still, if that is it, and you're not thinking about anything beyond, it's all still a material thing that can, sitting long enough outside, dissolve into dust. It's very transient, and it's temporal, and it's a commodity sometimes, and it's fragile, and so that means our hope is fragile, and that's kind of a scary thing. It should keep some people awake at night.
I think if you don't have hope, like this question is, if you're without hope, can you live a full and happy life? I think you have to have hope to live a full and happy life.
In something.
Yes, hope in something. I think that if you had hope religiously, that will take you a long ways in life towards a full and happy life. If you have contentment in material world stuff, that you can live without hope in the material world. Does that make sense? If you have contentment, because if you have to put all of your hope in, I've got to achieve something greater,
yeah,
and you don't, you cannot live a full and happy life. So you have to learn to control that hope, to be content. Yes, we want to strive for what we want and what we desire, and the yacht, the sports car, whatever we want, the house down the street. But if we don't get that, we have to learn to be content, to be full and happy. Right? You have to. But religiously, you could have a lot of hope.
Well, beyond religion, I look at religion as, even if you went to the deepest, darkest, most remote part of New Guinea or, Tanzania or, the Congo or some island that's uncharted in the South Pacific, you're going to find some tribe there that's come up with a religion. And that's what's amazing. That's what's amazing. A religion and a moral code, but also, probably worshiping something that speaks of a life.
But their hope is wrapped up in that religion. So that's what I'm saying, is religion is full of hope.
Well, my point is that, sometimes we get caught up in the idea that, I don't want to get involved with the established religions out there because they're just socializing me into this thing, and I want to think free. I just want to be me. I don't want to be sold this package that my culture is selling me. But the thing is, if you go anywhere, all these diverse humans around the world in different cultures, in different regions, in different places, dark corners of the planet, have come up with the same solution. They've realized that, there's something more, or there has to be something more.
Well, that's what their hope lies in. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It can't just be in my crops. It can't just be in a random rain falling, which is almost the equivalent of whether I get a sports car or not.
That's right.
Our society masks our material hopes in one thing. A very primitive society might do it in another, but it's the same thing. It's circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, because, there has to be something more concrete than just this material thing, whether
Yes.
it's a rainfall, it's the amount of sunshine, it's whether my soil is fertile this year or not, or, you know, whether I'm getting that house or that raise or that promotion or, whatever material, things I can get into my collection. There has to be something more than that.
Right.
That gives me something bigger than myself and my efforts, that give me hope that this whole world is not just nonsense.
Right.
I mean, is there a larger narrative? Right. Or are we just surviving and having a little pleasure in between and then dying and then there's nothing?
Right.
So I think the people that, like you said, who have sat down in the quiet of night or had an experience where they had a spiritual connection, maybe they were sitting in nature, maybe they were praying, they were really honestly reaching out to something beyond just this, because they know this, even if you're a 22-year-old, is dying. Mm-hmm. And eventually it's going to be, to put it in a crass way,
to me,
food for worms.
Answering the question for me is, I think that you can live without hope, because it says, can a human without hope live a full and happy life? I say yes. That is my answer, because they can be content and live a full and happy life. Hope is something that's bigger for me. That is beyond, yes, do I have hope that I'll get a job when I, apply for a job or something? Do I have hope that I'll get that? Sure. But.
So you're saying that a human can live without hope?
I'm saying.
And still live.
That's right. With a content life.
Have you met one? I mean, that you know of.
Well, yeah, let's take
I didn't really expect that.
Okay, I'll tell you why I think that. And obviously it's our reactions, right?
Yeah.
Let's take an atheist. Okay?
Yeah. There's
no hope for anything other than this world.
Yeah, they're going to live and die.
Yes. So,
but I've met atheists who are, as far as I can tell, and if I asked them, I'm pretty sure they'd say yes.
But could they be content with their life, however it is? Whether it's in whatever country it is.
I don't know. Are you
Can
saying
they live a full and happy life going, wow, I had kids, I had a house, I had, I ate, and I'm 80 years old, I'm about ready to die, I'm done.
Well, here's the thing. I've met atheists who, in my society, who have achieved and done all the things that are right, and they've lived moral lives, and they're good people, and they're respected. Mm-hmm. And they would say, I believe, that yes, I am happy, mm-hmm. and yes, I know there's nothing beyond this life. So I have no metaphysical hope. I have nothing outside of, no transcendent hope. But I don't need that, because I have hope in my family. I have hope in my life right now. I have hope, watching my children grow. And I accept that, but I wonder
if it's really hope. I don't know. Hope? It's really just a contentment.
Okay. I see.
You see what I'm saying?
So it's almost like you're saying,
can you live a full and happy life without hope? So, I think you can.
Okay, so you're saying that if a human can achieve contentment, they can still live
without hope.
So the question is,
but it brings up a follow-up question, which we won't go into.
Why
would you not want to have hope?
What you're saying is that you think that people need a bigger hope than just the things their five senses can experience.
Yeah, is there isolationist hope? Isolation, when I fill out an application, I want to get that job. I hope I get that job. But what kind of hope is that? I can still live a full and happy life.
I guess to a certain degree, you have to sort of dismiss or ignore some of those deeper questions. To me, it's kind of strange because I look at the amazing detail and design of this world. Mm-hmm. And to me, it would be such an immense tragedy to think all of these things that the human brain came up with, all of these things that we experience, from the details of tree bark to the feeling of warmth of a sunrise, to the beauty, every day it's different, but the beauty of the painting of clouds, whether on a summer's day or winter, that will be lost in time. I mean, that to me that's worth weeping over every day. You know, that these things will be lost.
Right, but you are telling me that you have a hope.
Yeah, and that's why I don't weep every day.
Right, exactly.
I believe that all these things will somehow be captured in these supercomputers. Mm-hmm. And that we are not just, what we feel here, but we are part of a larger narrative. And so my hope, it gives me such immense...
Right, but that's exactly what we're talking about. Your hope is a huge hope within a religious aspect, right? Where...
I wouldn't even say religion. It's more this,
Well, it's a hope in something beyond this world.
I just believe
the physical world.
I believe that we are in a grand story that has been designed, and we are still free agents, like actors in a play.
Right. Now, I understand what you're saying, but the question is, can somebody live without that feeling and still live a full and happy life?
I think so, but they probably can't dwell too long on, and this is my opinion.
Yeah.
But they can't dwell too long on the beauty of the play, because they know the play is going to end. And that's kind of any art or beauty, even a flower.
So then what you're saying is...
If you know it's going to die, if you know the play is going to end, the curtain's going to close, that's sad. So you don't want to think about that. You want to be in the play.
Right.
Whereas I think about it all the time and it doesn't disturb me.
Right.
I know it's going to end, but it's not going to end in my view of the universe.
So what I'm hearing you say, though...
What are you hearing me say?
Because there is no wrong answers in this,
I know.
Right? But here's what I'm hearing you say.
Okay.
Into this question, I feel like you're saying that somebody who does believe that it just ends with nothing cannot live a full and happy life because they have no hope.
What I'm saying is that...
Because that's basically what you're saying. I can't imagine doing that. Like, that's just nuts. Like, you can't imagine them not being... How could they be happy is basically what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that sometimes you have to dismiss certain questions and not dwell on it. So, yes, if you were me who likes to accept... I'm asking why. Why are we here?
Yeah.
Other people say, oh, there's no why. There's just how.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, I think there's a why. So you must be just... And there's, you must be dismissing that and ignoring that question. And they're saying, no, you can't answer the question. It's impossible to answer. So that's why I choose not to even engage it. Mm-hmm. Like, okay.
But how does that relate to this question?
Well, I'm saying that if they had my brain mm-hmm. that demands to know why and says the sheer evidence of our intricate design points to a designer, mm-hmm. they would be very unhappy if they said,
So you are saying that you cannot live a full and happy life without hope. I said you can, and you're saying you can't.
I believe you're right because I believe there's all kinds of people. I believe there's so many different people that I find it hard to connect with someone who does not want to answer those very central questions to our very existence.
Right.
You and me are here.
Yeah.
We have to accept this reality. Like,
Yes.
even though we know that you're a bunch of spinning molecules,
Yeah.
this is how I experience you. I see you. I see how the light's bouncing off you. I see how the atoms are collected. You are a being, and every time I've encountered you, you've pretty much stayed the same. And the same with me, except sometimes I lose my hair a little bit more.
Exactly.
You're like,
Yeah.
I've got to question this reality. But anyway, we age, we die. We've seen this play over and over again. That we've seen this motif over and over again. We know what reality is. We're small babies. We grow up. We die. We're also very intelligent enough to build towers and spaceships and write libraries of philosophy. And, you know, I'm sure throughout the ages, whether you're Socrates or, you know, Nietzsche or Nietzsche or ourselves, it doesn't matter how great or small you are, we've asked the same questions.
Yep.
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's right. So the way I can wrap this up is that I said, I believe that you can live a full and happy life without hope based on my brain philosophy. You said you don't know how somebody can live like that asking those questions, but you agree with me kind of.
I could not. So that's why I was interpreting it.
Yeah.
But could another human? Yeah, I'll give enough rope.
Okay.
For that. Okay.
That will answer the question.
All right.
All right, guys. That was a long way around that.
That was.
But I finally pulled it out of him. Did you see that? I pulled it out of him.
It was painful.
So onward to the next question. All right. Peace.